TRAX is sponsored by Polaris, think outside. Can-Am, time for some off-road living. And by Yamaha, revs your heart.
If you've got an ATV or a side-by-side, I'm about 95% certain that you've got a truck or an SUV. And like our side-by-sides and ATVs, well, trucks need new tires too. And we've been running the DIRT TRAX ATX Venture on just about all of the trucks that we have here at DIRT TRAX because it's such a great all-around, all-terrain tire. It's also winter rated, so you can literally leave these on all year round. The X Venture has the choice of 2 different sidewall styles depending on how you have them mounted, so there's some style choice. But most importantly, they have an expected wear life of up to 60,000 miles or 100,000 kilometers. That's pretty impressive, and with so many miles on all of our trucks equipped with the X Venture, we can agree that they're a very long-lasting tire that performs incredibly well in a wide variety of conditions, from the obvious pavement and highway to off-road sand, gravel, and loose rocks, as well as in the harshest winter driving conditions. Now, when it comes to getting further off-road with your truck or SUV, Hercules has released a new tire in the MT category, and it's called the TIS TT1. And I went ahead and outfitted my truck with a set to see just how good off-road they are. This tire collaboration is with TIS, 20 inches strong, and it's the same as with the Hercules UT1 side-by-side and ATV tire collab, but in the full-size truck and SUV category. The TT1 is designed for maximum traction in all off-road disciplines, but still having longevity and even wear characteristics, so you can run them on the roads as well. Now, this is a new tire to the Hercules brand, but they have come out swinging, with rim size options from 17 all the way to 26-inch tall rims, and then outside diameter height of 33 to 37 inches, as well as a couple of different widths. But for my F250, I went with a set of 35-inch outside diameter, 12.5-inch wide, as this is a pretty traditional size on the 20-inch Envy rims. I've noticed right away that these tires are actually very quiet on the road compared to many other popular MT tires, and the on-road handling is very acceptable. I mean, I'm not expecting the same ride as an all-terrain because this tire is far more aggressive and has a beefy 3-ply sidewall with an F-class load range, which means 12 plies and up to 80 PSI at over 3,600 pounds capacity per tire. Or in simple terms, this tire is ready to work just as hard as it plays. Now, getting the TT1 to where it's really meant to be used is what this test is all about. So off pavement and onto the dirt is where we're headed. Now, I could tell you how the step lugs add rigidity and prevent stone drilling as well as clear out exceptionally well, or the strategically designed tread pattern provides massive grip no matter the speed, but also reduces uneven and irregular wear. But the truth is, that stuff's there so that you can read it in a brochure. Out here in the real world, these TT1 tires are impressively grippy. They hold through fast off-road corners. Yes, they clear out, so you can expect with a little offset your truck's not gonna stay pristine and clean, but you didn't buy an MT expecting otherwise. Even in greasy or wet, sand or mud conditions, the TT1 really does clear out impressively well. And this is important for things like getting back into the hunt camp when you're pulling a trailer, or taking your travel trailer to that special boondock spot, or even going to a music festival where it gets muddy and greasy. These are the times where clear out is really going to help you get the places you want to go. Getting that grip is precisely what the TT1 does, be it rock, mud, sand. The tread compound and the footprint of the tire grabs at everything available. Because of the serious carrying capacity, I can have a flat deck loaded up with side-by-sides or ATVs behind me and not be worried that I'm stressing this tire. It's built for this. Clawing through areas you'd never try with your stock all-terrains, getting to that campsite everyone says you can't get to with a truck, yep, you're gonna prove them wrong. Now, after having these tires on my truck for the past months, what I really appreciate about them is the fact that they're not just an off-road tire. They do great off-road, but they keep my family content on-road. They don't make too much noise, and yet at the same time, if I want to throw the family in the truck, pull a trailer, and go out to somewhere that's very remote and hard to access, it's not going to be the tires on my truck that hold me back.
DIRT TRAX is sponsored by Hercules Tire. Ride on our strength.
CKX has become one of the most innovative helmet companies in the industry thanks to their out-of-the-box thinking and high-tech designs. With a rider-first focus, CKX helmet engineers start by identifying real-world usage scenarios that, in their minds at least, have not been adequately addressed by any current helmet offerings. The Atlas is one of their newest helmet designs that's got a long list of interesting technology aimed at making it not just a great helmet, but an adaptable helmet as well. Originally designed for adventure bike riders, the goal for the Atlas was to build a helmet that could easily be configured for both on and off-road riding with no tools. It didn't take long for them to identify other customers who might benefit from this modularity as well. More specifically, riders who may own both on and off-road vehicles of all different kinds, in our case, both motorcycles and ATVs or side-by-sides. The Atlas is available with either a carbon or a fiberglass composite shell. It's available in 3 shell sizes with 4 different sizes of inner foam. This allows it to fit heads all the way from extra small to triple extra chubby, like mine. Both the carbon and fiberglass versions feature 5 adjustable air vents, push-button shield and peak removal, quick-release chin strap, removable and washable liner, and are communication system ready. They are also available in more than a dozen colorways. What makes the Atlas special, though, is its ability to adapt to both on and off-road riding environments. This helmet is currently set up in the on-road mode, with the muzzle installed, the full shield in place, and the adjustable peak stowed. In this configuration, the Atlas is perfect for long days on the road, and while it is listed as being intended for adventure bike riders, it would be just as at home on a cafe or naked bike, a spider, or even a slingshot. The interior is comfy and roomy, with adequate space for glasses to be worn. Airflow is good, and the helmet is decently quiet at speed. Field of vision is also excellent, and the peak can be removed entirely if you prefer. While the Atlas does appear to be a fairly large helmet, keeping in mind that this is the largest triple XL helmet they make, it doesn't feel large on your head, and it certainly doesn't feel heavy. When the time comes to switch from on-road riding to off-road riding, you have a number of adjustments you can make to configure the helmet to suit your needs exactly. First, the peak has an extendable section that increases its overall size for better protection from both the sun and dirt and debris. The chin of the helmet, which CKX refers to as the muzzle, is also removable. Behind it is mostly mesh, which allows for maximum airflow. And finally, the shield can be removed entirely to be replaced by a pair of CKX 210 goggles that come in a wide variety of configurations themselves. With the peak extended, muzzle removed, and goggles in place, the Atlas does look like a completely different helmet than it did in on-road mode. As you might expect, you can choose to convert one, some, or all of these features depending on your personal preference. For example, a side-by-side rider might prefer to have the peak extended but keep the shield and the muzzle in place. Or you may prefer to keep the muzzle in place, extend the peak, but remove the shield and go with the 210 goggles instead. Since you're not working as hard riding a side-by-side as you are driving an ATV, the extra dust protection provided by the muzzle may be worth sacrificing the extra airflow you get having it removed. On an ATV, where exertion is at its maximum, I definitely prefer to have all the vents open, the peak extended, and the muzzle and the shield removed, and use the goggles instead. The concept of a helmet that can be converted between full face with a shield and open face with goggles isn't a new one. These types of helmets have been around for years from numerous manufacturers. However, I can say with confidence that no one has ever done it like CKX has with the Atlas. If there's one thing I've learned from testing all of those other helmets, it's that it definitely does take more than just removing the shield and replacing it with a pair of goggles to make a full face helmet into a good open face one. CKX has addressed many of the issues I had with these other attempts and come up with something I think legitimately can cover both on and off-road riding with very few compromises. If you're an ATV or side-by-side rider who also owns a motorcycle, a slingshot, or a spider, I think it would be wise to give CKX's Atlas helmet a serious look.
DIRT TRAX is sponsored by Princess Auto. Make it work.
The Polaris RZR name is synonymous with side-by-sides, and many times folks will just call a side-by-side a RZR no matter the brand. But all that fame didn't come easy for Polaris. They've been putting in the R&D time to make the RZR a household name. And for 2024, the XP1000 gets a total overhaul, bringing it to the front of its class. Now, the previous XP1000 was a great side-by-side, but Polaris did what Polaris always does. They took an already great side-by-side and made it even better. The new 24 XP1K feels completely different, even from just first glance. The whole package looks more sporty, lighter, and more agile. The wheels stick out beside the bodywork further, the plastic, while more functional, looks minimalistic, and the overall sense is that this vehicle is more nimble. And don't even get me started on the interior. We'll get to that in just a little bit. Now, the new chassis under these sleeker lines is said to be 25% stronger. I'm not sure that we're actually going to be able to test that, and we never had a problem with the previous XP1K, but hey, stronger is never a bad thing. The driveline is beefier and overbuilt with stronger components, from the drive shafts to the axle shafts and even the bearings carrying all of those moving parts. Polaris has put a focus on strength and reliability, so you're out riding more with less concern of repairs. This also incorporates lower temps inside the CVT for longer belt life and an increased oil change interval that's twice the previous XP1K. Along with all this strength comes the increased focus on fit and finish, something we've seen over the years evolving at Polaris, from the snow side, now over to dirt. Along with a higher quality feel is the reduction in NVH, or noise, vibration, and harshness, which right away makes an instant difference from behind the wheel. The felt vibrations and rattles are dramatically reduced, and this makes your overall driving experience a whole lot nicer, especially when you're set out on an epic all-day ride, putting in the long miles over harsh terrain. And that's what the XP1K is designed for, tackling the harshest terrains at speed. And because of its 64-inch width, it's going to go places that those bigger rigs just can't get. The all-new ProStar Gen 2 114 horsepower engine is angry at the world, yet refined and smooth in delivery. It's able to transfer that sizable power through the beefier and smoother driveline and handily break the 30 by 10-inch Trailmaster XT tires from their grip on the earth. This RZR does feature a square tire setup, so you can rotate and also carry a spare for use on any corner of this rig. As for suspension, you're getting the premium Walker Evans needle shocks all the way around, but a 2-inch body front damper and a 2.5-inch out back, all of which have 16 clicks of compression adjustability and threaded preload spring collar adjustment, so you know that you're going to get the ride that you want for your specific weight and needs. Front wheel travel comes in at 16 inches, out back it's 18, and ground clearance is a sizable 14.5 inches. Now, I've been getting used to the 20+ inches of suspension travel on the Polaris Turbo and Pro Rs that we have around the shop, with the live valve shocks and all the electronic adjustment. But the truth is, these Walker Evans with 16 clicks of adjustment give me way more than I actually need to get the exact damping that I want. This rig is a trail rocket, nothing less. I mean, I couldn't get more velocity if you shot me out of a cannon, and the drivability of this new chassis is spot on. Corner-to-corner drifting is predictable and confidence-inspiring. The amount of travel seems bottomless on all the big stuff I come into contact with, and all this without worrying if I'm too wide or going to drop a corner off the trail because, hey, it's only 64 inches wide, so I fit just about every trail out there. The Gen 2 ProStar spools up hard, and in 2- or 4-wheel drive, the power is fully usable and not feeling soft or underpowered at any point in the power band. The CVT doesn't seem to hunt or struggle and just continues to take my corner-to-corner taps of the throttle, feeling as nimble and responsive whether I come from a roll-on of 30 miles per hour or I just grab the brakes hard and jam the belt back to the post. The clutches are perfection and the throttle response is very efficient.
Dirt Trax has been sponsored by Kawasaki. Let the good times roll. MBRP Performance Exhaust, built for the victory lap. And by Mad Ramps. Leave the trailer and go.
Yeah. Let's go. We just gotta go hard. I go the hardest. I bring the pain.
Now the XP1K comes in 3 flavors, Sport, Premium, and Ultimate, all of which are available as 2 or 4 seaters, but today I'm testing the 2-seat Ultimate in the Indy Red color. Ultimate means, well, just that. Everything included, but for this XP primarily means Ride Command integrated right into the factory with the backup camera. And interestingly, this takes the traditional Polaris steering wheel gauge out of the equation. But honestly, I prefer it this way. I always looked at the center screen anyways for info, and they even tilted it towards the driver for a better interface. The interior is completely redefined with tighter plastics, cleaner lines, and much more open footwell area, and even finished interior doors. Rattles are non-existent, the open floor space makes for a much less crowded cockpit space, and when riding with a passenger, it gives you ample room. Now, Ultimate isn't just the built-in Ride Command with the GPS and the availability of Ride Command Plus, it's a whole bunch more. It's also Rockford Fosgate Stage 3 audio, which features 4 speakers within the cab, and let me tell you, this seriously pumps up the jams. Add to the killer stereo, the premium painted plastics and 2 optional coloration packages, as well as the front and rear LED signature lights that give the RZR a pretty unique look, and at night just set it off. There's 4-point harnesses to keep you safe, a factory poly roof, which you all know that we love being included from the factory, as well as a bull bar style front match painted bumper, and a full patent pending skid plate that protects the important stuff that you don't think about under the rig. And I can't forget the Polaris pulse bar system that's also part of this package, so you're able to plug in your electric accessories almost as easily as plugging into something in a household outlet. No more booking time at the dealership and shop rate to get your accessories put on. Nope, you can do these yourself. So now we got to get down to the nitty-gritty, and yes, there is a premium to be paid for the Ultimate package. But when it comes down to what that premium is, it's actually surprisingly not all that much more over the previous generation, considering that this is an entirely new vehicle. The Sport model starts at $20,999 US and $27,500 Canadian. Moving up to the Premium will increase another $2,000, and then going to Ultimate is roughly $3,000 on top of that, which brings us to an as-tested price today of $25,999 US and $32,769 Canadian. That's about $2,000 more than the previous generation XP1K, and let me tell you, the upgrade in fit, finish, durability, and performance is worth way more than $2,000 in my books, as Polaris has moved the 64-inch 1000 class side-by-side into completely new territory.
So now that you've seen AJ's test ride, I just wanted to give a few comments about my thoughts on the new RZR XP1000 and see if they mesh with his, because him and I sometimes have different experiences and different opinions, believe it or not. So here's what I've learned about this vehicle after having just driven it quite a bit, really aggressively in all different types of terrain. First of all, it's very comfortable to sit in. The cockpit in this vehicle is really, really good. There's tons of leg room. I really like the handling, the front end, the power steering, the way they've got it set up. It handles really good. It's very quick handling because it is shorter than like a turbo or a Turbo R, but that's a good thing as well. The suspension works excellent. I really like the looks of it. It's a very good looking side-by-side. A couple things that I didn't really like is the dead pedal on both sides for passenger and driver is way too flat and it feels very uncomfortable. That's weird. The transmission works amazing. Shifting is absolutely accurate and very positive. I like the way the cockpit's laid out. The steering wheel's in a really good spot. I don't feel like I'm missing the tilt or the telescopic function from other vehicles. The display is excellent, and one thing I really, really liked that I found was that not having the gauge in front of the driver meant I could see down in front of me even better, even through the steering wheel loop when I was sitting in the vehicle. I really liked that, and I didn't miss having the gauge here at all, much like AJ said that he didn't either. The wheel and tire package is awesome and provides wicked traction. Suspension works great. I have really no complaints about this vehicle. Everything about it is pleasing. Everything about it is an improvement over the old 1000 XP, and even things like the doors are now sealed all the way around. This is an incredible incredibly clean side-by-side to ride. As you can see, we hit some mud, we hit some puddles, and I have basically no dirt or anything on me anywhere, so that's pretty impressive. Overall, I agree with pretty much everything AJ said. We do have similar tastes, and that came through evident in this. But yeah, enjoyed riding it just as much as he did, and gonna enjoy riding it a whole lot more.